and gentlemen.
Welcome to the show. It's Movie Wire time. Oh, the Movie Wire. Bring the firing squad. Bill, Justin. Give the finger or laugh or smile. It's time to find out. No more waiting. So here we go. The Sultan of Cinema. The gumshoe of review. Here is Justin Henson. Let's start the show. Let's go.
Welcome to the Movie Wire.
Welcome to the first episode of 2026, and welcome to this week's edition of The Movie Wire. I'm your host, Justin Henson, and welcome to the show. We have a big show this week with 3 new movies to review, with all 3 playing in theaters right now. This week on the show, it's a movie they're dying to remake. Jack Black and Paul Rudd star in Anaconda. Can You Keep a Secret? Sydney Sweeny and Amanda Seyfried star in The Housemaid. And finally, are you ready for this? SpongeBob returns in the SpongeBob movie, The Search for SquarePants. We've got a lot to cover this week, so let's jump right in. Ready for my verdict? Let's get into it.
Out of the windows to watch a roar and a bursting of flames. The Movie Wire podcast. We need people like me.
The Wire.
And here we go.
A group of friends are going through a midlife crisis. They decide to remake a favorite movie from their youth, but encounter unexpected events when they enter the jungle. In the remake, reboot, re-imaging, I don't know what the fuck this movie's trying to do, something in regard to the 1996 film with the same name, comes Anaconda.
I don't want to wait, man.
Doug, what are you talking about?
Let's do it. Let's reboot Anaconda.
Yes.
Wait,
What?
This is going to be the adventure of a lifetime. We've dreamed of making this movie ever since we were kids.
What does it cost to get this thing made?
$2.5 million.
We've approved a loan for up to $9,400.
Yes.
We're gonna shoot it indie style. Run and gun.
We need a riverboat, a script, a snake handler, and a real snake.
Claire, you and I will star in it.
I love you, Derek.
Kenny, you shoot it.
Here we go.
Doug, you direct.
Action! Put your face right up next to the snake.
Maybe it'll be okay.
Coding.
This is Anaconda. And we no longer have a snake for our snake movie. We have to go out in the jungle and find another one.
What is that?
Oh my.
My Anaconda.
We're in the middle of the jungle and we are being hunted.
My Anaconda.
Now we die.
My Anaconda.
It's okay, you're safe. I'm here. Holy!
My Anaconda. My
Keep rolling.
Anaconda don't want none unless you.
He's dead.
Oh, no. What are we going to do?
What if we use Doug as bait to get back to the boat?
That's a really smart idea.
Doug would have wanted this.
I'm not sure he would have wanted this.
Oh my god, the snake.
He's alive. I thought you checked his pulse. I did. Doug! He's right behind you. What the hell is on my back? It's a long story. Run!
Somewhere deep in a Hollywood boardroom, a group of Hollywood executives stared at a whiteboard, saw the word Anaconda, and collectively decided that the best way to honor cinema in 2025 was to remake a movie that was already famous for being bad. Even though, to be clear, I actually enjoyed the original film. Anaconda is so bad that I had to revisit Anaconda 3 from 2008 starring David Hasselhoff, because at least you know what you're gonna get with a cast led by David Hasselhoff, with honestly some more believable performances. And again, let me be clear, in no way am I saying Anaconda 3 is a good movie, but at least it knows exactly what it is, a straight-to-video sequel with pure cheesiness, and even at times some better writing. When it comes to this version, this premise solely banks on two things. The first, that nostalgia will do all the heavy lifting. Unfortunately, nostalgia taps out about the 10-minute mark, right around the time the movie introduces its giant CGI snake and expects you to feel awe instead of immediate exhaustion. Yes, the snake is bigger. Yes, the filmmakers attempt to make the snake look scarier by adding drool with every shot. And yes, it's louder. No, that doesn't make it interesting, nor does it make it better. And the second thing it banks on, the star power, and the script that doesn't even know what it wants to be. And the cast is held to do all the heavy lifting to try to make this premise into something, but it never truly does. Every single character is a throwaway character. Every attempt at humor falls flat. It isn't until the last 20 or so minutes, not including the credits, that we are delivered a movie that we can tell was written first with a lot of added fun factor, including some fun cameos. This is where it finds its voice. Anything prior to the climax is met with a script that felt like it was picked out of a trash can from a declined made-for-streaming sequel that even our comedic cast can't make funny, and they can't even make it thrilling. So, what does that leave us with? It's pretty clear. Absolutely nothing but a familiar cast on a poster with the curiosity of fans of the original that will have the viewers leave their theater in disappointment. Now, before I went into Anaconda, I had to revisit the 96 film, and open and honest, it didn't age well when it comes to quality, but there still is a level of enjoyment. But what I realized is that it took nearly an hour in the original to get some real snake action, and I didn't realize that until my rewatch. That's the level of engagement the 96 film brought to the table, is we get hints of the snake and we are entertained up until we get some really good snake action. The original built itself on point of view shots and tension build from an added threat of Jon Voight. It used the Jaws strategy of giving the audience just enough monster while presenting other added threats outside of the shark to build its thrills. And with our writers, Kevin Etten, Hans Buer, and our director/writer, Tom Gormican, they attempt to use the same formula as the original, but this time it isn't a threat rather than a motive, a subplot of another character that I won't spoil. And this motive is never properly utilized. For example, again, without giving anything away, we have a scene where we have our big anaconda and a car that is dead, broken down, with the anaconda peering through the window. That leads to an attempt at tension of fixing the car less than a minute later, and the snake is nowhere to be seen. Who leaves a car after a big-ass anaconda is peering through the window in under a minute? And then we get a motorcycle chase with said fixed vehicle with gunfire. It's a spectacle, and the anaconda is still nowhere to be seen. This is a scene that could have been something as watching Chris Pratt ride a motorcycle with raptors, and an anaconda is taking her cyclists out one by one, but nothing happens. Now, I can maybe see what our writer-director Tom Gormican is trying to do, which is take this idea of a group of filmmakers on a small budget and turn it into an experience of us, the viewer, feeling like it's a small budget. It wants to match what our characters are trying to do, like a film within a film like Tropic Thunder. It attempts all the elements here from the respect to the original of pacing and utilizing the snake, but being a comedy. But the difference here is this isn't funny. This isn't thrilling. The stakes are lame. We never feel a threat, and the film never utilizes this idea to be funny. Most of the jokes fall flat, as if there isn't a script and we just have our main characters, Doug and Ronald, played here again by Jack Black and Paul Rudd, bantering back and forth, as if they're trying to land a joke and find their way to a punchline, and it never gets there. And when it comes to Rudd and Black, when it comes to performances, they shout facts or lines at each other in the middle of chaos as if the snake might pause to take notes. They're subtly quiet when delivering banter, as if we can visually see them not confident in the joke they're about to deliver. But let's be honest, when we take a film about a giant snake that characters are running from, the main attraction, of course, is our monster. It's our snake. This snake is overproduced. We can tell it's so overly done, from the saliva always dripping from its mouth, to where the snake is placed, to the way our director Tom Gormican ensures that we never get a really good look at it. It's either striking at supersonic speed, half of it's in the grass, or it's at night where we merely get a flashlight shut on it. The Anaconda itself is the star, or at least should be. The snake really has no appeal. It's not scary, it's not mysterious, and not even particularly fun. It's just there, enormous, rubbery, and CGI animated as looking at a video game cutscene. It doesn't slither so much as teleport. One moment it's 10 feet away, the next it's somehow behind someone, on top of a building, or nowhere at all. Again, we have that motorcycle chase scene that if you pay attention, you ask, where is our snake? And then you ask, how? The original Anaconda, to its credit, knew how to use practical effects to its advantage, even though it didn't age well. But at the time, it knew who the main star was. The original took its time with the snake movements, teasing the audience to what our creature was going to do next. This version spends all of its time showing off the star power and teases the audience with the idea of what if we had Jack Black and Paul Rudd in an Anaconda movie? And the answer is delivered to us with nothing happens. By the time we get to the climax, even though at times looks like a future ride at Universal Studios, there is some ray of light that the movie had found its voice of what it should have been. This gives me the vibes that it had an idea of the ending, where it is a fun idea with fun cameos and some really amusing moments. But by the time the credits rolled, it's too late. We are just left thinking, why didn't we get that movie? Anaconda drags on for almost its entire runtime and feels like our filmmakers are lost in the juggle along with our cast. Even Rudd and Black, we can see struggle on making something with this material. And because of that, their performances are awkward, where we can see them struggle delivering their lines, knowing that their banter is going absolutely nowhere. The difference of entertainment from the original versus this mess is an hour into the original, I was still engaged with our characters. Here, I was rooting for the Anaconda to just eat our cast and be done with it. I'm giving Anaconda 1 star.
My Anaconda don't want none.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
Now, before we get into the rest of the show, make sure you check out my reviews for movies that just became available to rent, buy, or stream now.
Now available on video cassette.
An epic World War II thriller based on true events in Nuremberg, with Russell Crowe and Rami Malek stealing the show to receive 3 stars. Anyone can survive 5 nights. This time there will be no second chances. And hopefully this doesn't get a 3rd chance in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 that received 1.5 stars. You can only choose one in eternity. That is a true journey of self-reflection and takes the viewer on the journey with it, receiving 3.5 stars. Unlock the illusion that we really needed a sequel to this, and Now You See Me, Now You Don't, that received 2 stars. Survive 30 days while the world hunts you down in the remake to the 1987 film, The Running Man, that really didn't make me run away, receiving 3 stars. And I still hate Glenn Powell. When they took his family, he took revenge. In Sisu, Road to Revenge, that is just as good as the first, if not a little better, receiving 3.5 stars. Worlds will collide when there's no going back in Tron Ares, that had enough entertainment value versus disappointment to receive 3 stars. Forgotten but not gone in the tragic true story of Broadway legend Lawrence Hart that will fill a Broadway thirst with a fantastic performance from Ethan Hawke in Blue Moon that received 3.5 stars. Risk everything, regret nothing, and regretting you that will make you full of regret spending the time and or the money, and studios will probably have regret of hiring the editor, writer, and director here, receiving 2 stars. There's smarter life out there in the universe, including our filmmakers that created Bulgaria that received 3 stars. Some search for battles, others are bored into it in one battle after another, which is a prime example of all filmmaking elements working together in unison to receive 4 stars. You'd be so proud of her in Shelby Oaks, but not proud of the filmmaking here that really need to figure its shit out to receive 2 stars. Need a miracle? You've got it when Keanu Reeves plays an angel, and he is adorable in A Good Fortune that received 3 stars. He robbed 45 McDonald's, escaped from prison, lived in a Toys R Us for 6 months, and that's not even the craziest part. The craziest part is that we can tell that Channing Tatum wasn't a Toys R Us kid in Roofman that received 1.5 stars. Dead is just a word. We told you not to talk to strangers in The Black Phone 2 that for an unnecessary sequel, this one actually got it right, receiving 3 stars. The unforgettable true story of UFC legend Dwayne Johnson stars in The Smashing Machine, which couldn't find its way to 3 stars, just receiving 2.5 stars. Who's a good movie? Who's a good movie? And Good Boy, which had a good dog, good premise, good filmmaking to receive 3 stars. And finally, the task is simple. Walk or die in the Stephen King adaptation of The Long Walk. That was pretty thrilling for a movie about walking to receive 3 stars. You can check out those reviews of my previous episodes, and while you do, don't forget to hit follow or subscribe, and please don't forget to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Now, before we get into the last set of reviews, there is a podcast that is part of my weekly listening routine, but I've also joined them for some fantastic movie discussions, and they're truly a couple of stand-up guys. And that's with Josh and Alex over the Talking Smack podcast. Make sure to listen and subscribe to their show. The link to their show will be in the description of this episode. But let's hear from Josh and Alex over the Talking Smack podcast now.
What's up, nerds? This is Josh from Talking Smack, where we talk superheroes, movies, animation, comics, and so much more. Every week, we break down the latest blockbuster movies, TV shows, revisit comic events. We even talk to comic creators like Kyle Higgins, Melissa Flores, and Matt Groom. And don't miss out on our Superhero Showdown episodes, where we debate your suggestions on who would win in a fight, or maybe they might become friends. So join in on the conversation with me, Josh, and my co-host Alex every Wednesday on your podcatcher of choice. Look for our yellow and red icon, and we'll see you soon, Smackheads.
A struggling young woman is relieved by the chance for a fresh start as a maid for a wealthy couple. Soon she discovers that the family's secrets are far more dangerous than her own. Sydney Sweeny and Amanda Seyfried star in The Housemaid.
Hi, Millie. Hi, Mrs. Winchester. Oh, please call me Nina. Come on in. So why do you want this job?
I just really enjoy being a housemaid. For the right families, of course.
You know this is a live-in position, right? Ta-da! This is your room. What do you think?
It's perfect.
Okay, good. I have good judgment. So, would you like the grand tour? I know I have good taste. See what you're getting yourself into? The job is mostly cleaning, organizing, some light cooking. Everyone makes mistakes.
Hello?
Millie's gonna be living with us.
She's gonna live with us.
Andrew, I told you that. She'd be part of the family. I want you to feel safe here.
I do.
Theodore. You're a lifesaver. I don't know what I'd do without you. Millie. Whatever devil's inside you, don't let him out tonight.
I need this job. I can't lose it. I do not want to go back.
All I'm asking, baby. Please, 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 don't prove I'm right. Please, 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 don't bring me to tears when I just did my makeup so nice. I have a really good feeling about this, Millie.
Me too.
Okay, I'll be in touch. Please, 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 don't prove I'm right. Please, please, don't prove I'm right.
You know, there's something deeply satisfying about a movie that understands its genre, respects its audience, and still finds room to surprise. The Housemaid is that kind of film that has the vision to be a sleek, suspenseful psychological thriller that embraces its formulaic roots while elevating them with sharp performances, confident direction and performances, and irresistible sense of fun. This is a rare movie that feels both old school and refreshingly modern, fresh. The kind of movie that reminds you why these stories work so well on the big screen, with a proper vision. Just last week, I reviewed Sydney Sweeney in the biopic Christie, and at the end of that review, I said, someday Someday, I will give a Sydney Sweeney film a good review. And when you throw Amanda Seyfried into the mix, how can this movie fail? And open and honest, the plot seemed all too familiar, and my fear with The Housemaid is yet another Lifetime movie generic feeling film that follows the same damn formula. But to my surprise, The Housemaid got me off guard to not only have some engaging performances by Seyfried and at times Sweeney, I'll get into that in just a moment, but offer some really intense moments that in other movies like it into the more of the behind-the-scenes psychological thriller. But what our writers Becca Sonnenscheid do is bring the psychological thrilling thoughts up front and center, where there is nothing hiding from the dialogue. There's no behind-the-scenes. There's no behind-the-scenes manipulation. Everything we see, our characters see. Instead of our writers inserting situations and throw the cast and audience a curveball in how the situations are handled after the actions are done, we have the characters written to show and tell their inner demons. Everything is on screen. Everything is up front. This is a fresher feel with an overused formula that delivers more twists and turns than I was expecting. And what our director, Paul Feig, does with the setting and tone helps with building the atmosphere to keep us on our toes of where this movie is taking us. But again, it keeps with the tone that it feels like we have seen it before. Whether that's intentional or Paul Feig keeping to his usual structured, safe directorial tone, it doesn't matter. It just works and shows he was a right director for the job. The Housemaid starts off giving us little and brief introductions that feels like the introduction to a made-for-TV movie. We get the bright settings, we get the protagonist with some conflict, and we have the other with a perfect life. The first act is completely a curtain of familiarity that slowly, as we lead into the second act, gets pulled wide open to reveal that this isn't going to be formula. It was almost a twist of genre. When that curtain is fully pulled open, we get it. We get something that we were hoping to see in a film that feels fresh but familiar and, more importantly, memorable. The Housemaid doesn't try and reinvent the wheel when it comes to our characters. We have the rich trophy wife Nina, played by Seyfried, and the desperate housemaid Millie, played by Sweeney. But the chemistry they present on screen keeps us always on edge, because the chemistry feels professional, as it should when it comes to an employer and an employee. There isn't a real attempt at spending time to build chemistry or a friendship, which finally, a live-in nanny movie that doesn't feel the need to build a relationship to export some thrills to the viewer, to add the emotional, artificial stakes. But this uses real psychology and human nature to motivate its characters. And when it comes to the performances, Seyfried is at top form here, where she displays a roller coaster range of emotion. Sweeney, on the other hand, this is where I'm back and forth. Sweeney is outperformed by Seyfried, where her desperation versus sanity isn't completely believable given the stakes in the situation. But with that said, my dear Sydney Sweeney does kind of anchor the film with one of her most grounded and controlled performances. But at times, it almost feels too controlled, where Sweeney's reactions feel unrealistic to almost too grounded. This isn't a naive protagonist wandering blindly into danger. Instead, Sweeney plays this character Millie as observant, cautious, and emotionally guarded. Her strength lies in her body language almost. Small glances, pauses, and shifts in body language that communicate volumes without word. And to Sweeney's credit, this is a new test for her as she starts to test her rage. In this case, using body language to express her emotions, while our director Feig still manages to get boob shots in with almost every other shot. Sweeney does her best when it comes to delivering and chemistry with our cast, especially with husband Andrew, played by Brandon Sklanner. The relationships between the husband and the maid, these feel realistic. But the problem I have with Sweeney's performance is how she reacts. There has to be more emotion put into it, but I understand the direction that they went with it. So here, Seyfried does steal the show. Sweeney is a good addition, but the situational reactions should have been handled differently. But even with the movie's subtleties, the pacing is another strength with this film. The Housemaid resists the urge to rush into chaos given the chaotic situations it presents, instead allowing tension to build organically. Early scenes, especially like I said in the first act, feels familiar and repetitive. When the story starts to pull threads, it does so with confidence, trusting the audience to keep up. Each reveal we feel is not going to lead to anything, but rather attempt to build the routine chemistry that we've seen from previous films like it before. It takes us in a different direction that we really don't see coming, and the situations we do see coming, we don't know where it's going to lead to. This keeps the level of engagement at an all-time high. This is part of the pacing magic to this film. Now, this is a hard film to review when it comes to relaying the messaging without giving anything away. And this is one of those movies to experience with knowing as little as possible, to appreciate the experience and the messaging it's trying to deliver. So I will keep it as vague as I possibly can. When we do get to the twist to amplify the messaging, the twist does conquer the screen, where if there is messaging, it's lost in the mix of making a spectacle of the idea of the climax. It felt like our writers got a spark of the idea of where to take the movie, and they were so excited on the idea that we can feel the energy on screen because our cast is excited to deliver something that gives a different level of feeling to the viewer. It rides a fine line of going full-on cliche that we felt from the first act of being too familiar, where in the climax, we can see what's going to happen, and the movie at times does earn the right to add in a balance of new and familiar that we felt from the familiar first act, and the new feel of the second act, because with the first two acts combined, leads into a climax that is satisfying, but there is a linger of something that is missing. I think it had a problem kind of tying everything together, and I think it lies with a little bit more screen time or elongated moments with our two female leads. But you know, The Housemaid, all in all, was a pleasant surprise. It's sexy, sleek, fresh, but familiar, and does what it seeks out to do, without shoving the same old tropes in our face, like this year's The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. It keeps you on the edge of your seat while we're carefully paying attention to what the next level of crazy chaos is going to be. And yes, there is a lot of boob in this movie. I'm giving The Housemaid 3 stars.
SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants.
SpongeBob journeys on the ocean depths to face the Flying Dutchman ghost, encountering challenges and uncovering marine mysteries in the SpongeBob movie, The Search for SquarePants.
Long ago, one sailor fell under a wicked curse. The only way to lift this curse is to find the world's most innocent soul.
I'm ready.
Big up.
Squidward, wanna hear my big news?
Let me go mark some time on my calendar.
Big up.
Today's the day.
SpongeBob, big up.
It is? Well, that's weird.
The hero's journey starts with one squish. What? The Flying Dutchman? The most pants-wettingly scariest ghost to ever roam the high seas? Oh, my lucky brick. Permission to come aboard, sir!
Me too?
Only if you put on some pants.
I'm taking you to the underworld.
Are you sure he's the one?
He's the key to unlocking my curse.
What are we laughing about?
SpongeBob's in danger. We gotta go save him. Not bad. The entrance to the underworld is in the most horrible place imaginable. Bikini Bottom High.
Ew. Nice ride.
Losers.
Don't make me call security.
I thought you were a big guy.
I am.
I am.
You dropped your lucky brick.
I don't have a lucky brick.
Dodge! I know I can do this. My intestines. Peekaboo!
Hair-do-do!
What is happening?
The SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants. See it in 3D.
SpongeBob, big guy, pants okay. SpongeBob.
You know, growing up, I barely missed SpongeBob as a kid. I think I was in junior high when it first aired on TV. The difference between this SpongeBob movie and the previous is that this is the first SpongeBob movie that made me feel I might have enjoyed SpongeBob as a kid. Not to say the other films were horrible, but they definitely leaned more into their fan base versus this film, The Search for SquarePants, that seemed to even the playing field for those that grew up with SpongeBob, new generation of kids, and Me, adults that never got involved into the show. Now, the story is simple as it should be, that SpongeBob, voiced by Tom Kenny, wants to ride the big scary roller coaster, but SpongeBob isn't brave enough to do so, but convinces himself that he wants to be just like Mr. Krabs, once again voiced by Clancy Brown, who claims he was a swashbuckler when he was younger. In SpongeBob's want to become a swashbuckler, SpongeBob, along with his sidekick Patrick, discover Mr. Krabs' secret basement, where he discovers a certain instrument where SpongeBob unintentionally unleashes the glowing green pirate, the Flying Dutchman, voiced by Mark Hamill, who was cursed to roam the underworld until he can switch places with an innocent soul. The Flying Dutchman promises, or should I say tricks, SpongeBob that he will make him a swashbuckler if he helps him on a mission, unaware that he is leading SpongeBob into eternal danger. Now, we do get all the SpongeBob silliness that one would expect from a SpongeBob movie, and it does seem toned down here, mainly because this installment actually attempts a bigger message at friendship, bravery, and facing fears. That is simplistic even for a 5-year-old to understand, and even for a 40-year-old to appreciate. It delivers the message with a feeling of adventure that is truly entertaining, with pacing that makes the movie feel like it just flies by, versus previous movies that make me check the time while rolling my eyes for 90 minutes. I think the biggest win with The Search for SquarePants is the mere fact it keeps it simple. We don't feel the need to push all the characters into a story. We don't feel the need to try and just appease fans by joke over joke at rapid fire, but rather presents fun scenarios for a minimal cast to work with a simplistic adventure story. Our writers Pam Brady, Matt Lieberman, and Mark Ceccarelli know that the movie has to put SpongeBob and Patrick in situations, and not load the script with joke over joke between 3 characters for 90 minutes. Do all the situations and scenes work? No, there are moments that our writers could have nailed the messaging a little harder by just slowing down the journey of our pirate SpongeBob and Patrick, to show us almost a crescendo of bravery that the movie seeks out to do with our SpongeBob character. Instead, we get more of a montage of challenges that SpongeBob faces. And even though fun and understandable for pacing, we do miss an earned character arc for a yellow sponge that I feel could have amplified the emotional grab it attempts during the climax. Which is another surprise to me, is that this is a movie that surrounds itself with the idea of how to be brave and how to face your fears. But when it comes to the friendship, it hits home with some good emotion. Yes, and again, it could have earned it a bit more at the end, but for a SpongeBob movie, we can feel the amount of heart it wants the audience to leave the theater with. Open and honest, it did make me smile by the time the credits rolled, to the point when I got home, I actually did turn on the TV and watch SpongeBob with my son. Did it change my opinion and make me an avid watcher? No. But it did make me watch it with a new light on the character. And that's a win for a movie that's attempted numerous times with numerous films. It's a challenge for an animated cartoon that has relied on its success through silly animated chaotic humor to convince a viewer that it's capable of heart. And by the end of it, I felt for our animated characters. But it's not just about trying something different, trying a new strategy. The success of it is also how all the characters interact. Mr. Krabs shows something other than greed. SpongeBob, we see, feel excited and then betrayed, and these emotions are delivered not just through dialogue, but interacting with each other and showing emotion and humor throughout the characters and their interactions. This is where the balance really does shine between action, humor, and heart, where it isn't situational examples, but how our characters talk to each other and interact with each other. Between our director, writers, and animators, they seem to have a vision of where to take SpongeBob this go-around, knowing they have already put our characters from the show to their movies in almost every possible situation. So this new adventure, this new idea, was to take SpongeBob up a level, take these characters up a level, taking SpongeBob and advance him just like they see the fans do. The fans of cartoons mature at an intellectual level as they grow older. Well, for some. But more so, they grow at an emotional level. This is smart to have this character not only grow with fans, but give something of substance that kids won't see coming. The SpongeBob movie, The Search for SquarePants, was a pleasant surprise where it may have taken our filmmakers and animators a while to figure out the secret sauce to appease a vast audience through its movies and its show. And they mostly succeed here, to create a film that delivers heavier on the message and heart than just rapid-firing silly jokes aimed at kids. Kids will appreciate the humor and simplicity, and adults will appreciate the heart and adventure. I'm giving the SpongeBob movie, The Search for SquarePants, 3 stars. And that's a cut on this week's edition of The Movie Wire. I want to thank you for listening and thank you for your support. You can also show support by following me on Instagram, Blue Sky, X, Thread, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Letterboxd at Movie Wire Show. And please don't forget to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you haven't yet checked out the Cult-Worthy Cinema Podcast and the Movie Wire's crossover show, Back to the Balcony, make sure you do. Again, the link of that show will be in the description of this episode. Until next week, do me a favor. Make sure you stay for after the credits to show the respect to those that put their blood, sweat, and tears into making a feature film and support your local movie theaters.
Thank you for bringing me to the movies.
Let the credits roll. We say farewell. Join us next time. We'll have more tales to tell.